say it's not inspiring football, but it gets the job done.
Those are the latest headlines for now. I'm Tatiana Sanchez. Now it's over to headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. I'm Nick Dixon, taking you through tomorrow's top stories for the next hour. And I'm joined by the People's Gammon, Paul Cox. There he is. And the People's Burden, it's Lewis Schaefer. I'm sorry, Lewis. I thought of that today and it seemed apt.
People's Burden.
I don't think the people out there that are watching me, they don't feel that way. They feel I bring a breath of fresh air and light to this country and this station and the both of you.
And our lives.
The both of you. So I don't think they believe it. So you can say whatever you can say whatever you want to say to me.
I can say what I want, but the public are with you. You're like Nigel Farage. The people have spoken. I do like your tie and jacket combo tonight. I never say that because it'll encourage you.
Yeah,
I
thought that too, yeah.
Yeah, I got this at Eastbourne. I was in Eastbourne the last couple of days ago. And they were having a tennis tournament there. And I thought, did they have a big tennis tournament
They do
there?
every year.
And it was the same thing. It's like the pre-Wimbledon
It's a long anecdote. OK, is that the end of it? All right, we're going to do the front pages. Let's crack on. So the Mail on Sunday has Brexit, now the retreat begins. The Sunday Express goes with PM, Rwanda plan dead and buried. The Sunday Telegraph, Blair ally drafted in to drive NHS reform. The Observer, Starmer tells his cabinet now it's time to deliver on our promises. The Sunday Mirror, we've done it, which is about the football. And finally, the Daily Star Sunday, yes, which is also about the football. And those are your front pages. So starting with the Sunday Mirror, Paul, I believe it's coming home?
Well, it's one step closer to home, let's put it that way. We've done it, said the Sunday Mirror. Wonderful stuff, Nickers. You were watching it. Some people, if they were watching Saturday 5, may have actually heard me watching it because I was just on the other side of the studio door there watching the penalties. It was solid.
Loud watching.
Yeah, well, you know, there were collectively, there was, you know, the production, hard-working production staff out there, the forgotten few of GB News
yes.
that worked behind that glass wall there that were watching whilst they were working. And, yeah, it was fascinating because it was a solid game. I mean, it's uninspiring, you know, but that's what we want in England now, don't we? Much like Keir Starmer.
It was a bit better than we've been playing. We changed the system up, and he finally went with a back five. He put, bizarrely though, he's played Trippier again instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold, which had people going mental. I mean, I don't want to make any legal claims, but has Southgate killed someone and Trippier knows where the body is? Why does he always go with Trippier over Trent, one of the best attacking right-backs in the game?
I don't know the answer to that.
He could have gone Saka at left-back.
Imagine if I did know the answer to that. That would be amazing. I found it very interesting that he changed the system but didn't change any of the players. So he both, you know...
He added Conser in centre-back.
Yeah, he had to, though, because...
The non-footballing people are all just switching on now.
He had to because of the suspension, of course. But, yeah, it's great news. We're through to the semi-finals. It's on Wednesday, and we look forward to being...
I guess one thing, the penalties were so perfect. You don't understand, Lewis. I've been watching these tournaments since 1990 as a young boy, and 34 years of hurt for me, waiting for us to win on penalties. Yeah, we beat Spain once in a quarter-final, but we've lost so many times. The penalties were so perfect. They were so calm. Yeah. It was incredible. Did you watch, Lewis?
I didn't watch most of it. I saw a little bit of it. You know what it is? I'm smarter than the people of this country. I know I'm going to be disappointed. There's something fundamentally wrong with English football. There's something, the fact that they go in there, if we score a goal, then we go on defense the rest of the game and we lose 2-1 or whatever it is. If they score a goal, that's the only chance we have of like fighting back. There's nothing that I love England, and I think England football is an important thing.
You bailed yourself out there.
Yeah.
Very nice there. I was about to jump across and just laugh at myself. I mean, because this is our moment, Lewis. We could actually win. We've got a great team. Spain, we've got a great team. Yes, the manager's a bit cautious. We have a great team. We could actually do it.
Has England won since 1966?
No.
No, and that's quite a number.
Be a hater, though.
I'm not being a hater. I'm saying, as a person who's lived in this country for 24 years, which is a lot more than most people in this country, 24 years is a long time, is that I can honestly say, I think you should keep your breath. What does that say?
Don't hold your breath.
Oh,
What
yeah.
bothers me is it was 30 years. Now I'm sold. It's almost been like another 30 years since that.
Well, it has, isn't it? Yeah.
How that's
What's it,
possible.
28 years since 1996? I was thinking this just the other day, actually. It's
insane.
That's mad. It's almost as long between 1996 and 2024 as there was between 96 and 66.
We don't want to say that. Let me add one more detail as well. Jordan Pickford had the penalties on which way to dive on his water bottle. Did you see that?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
used to just think, oh, we'll just wing it on the day. Now
Yeah.
we're so organised. We've got the list of where. That's the kind of thing I would do, like which way to dive.
But
England saved the penalty.
But England has known that forever.
Why didn't we implement?
Yeah.
Why didn't we use the water bottle strategy earlier? Anyway, let's move on to the Mail on Sunday, Lewis.
The Mail on Sunday. Brexit. Now the retreat begins. This is from Boris Johnson. It's an article by Boris Johnson. And I thought we'd heard the last of that guy, or at least for a couple of years. Take a break, Boris Johnson. And I mean, I know is he working for us over here, or us, or me, or not?
He's in between holidays, I think.
And so that's the problem. The problem is that Boris Johnson says that I think we know what Keir Starmer is going to do, which is he's going to bring us back in. We don't need to.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's an actual Boris article, but he has said it. We're on the road to serfdom under Starmer. Very Boris. In another piece, he said we were going to be the punk of Brussels. What do you think, Paul? Are we going back to be the punk of Brussels?
Yeah, I mean, like many Tory aides, I like a bet. And if I was to bet, that's not to bet the country.
I got it now.
You with it, yeah. I would bet that Labour under Keir Starmer will take us closer to the European Union than we have been since we Brexited. He will see that as the solution, the solution to the problems with the EU, whether it's import, export, whether it's immigration. It'll be closer ties with the EU, and it's a bit like an old girlfriend, isn't it? You think you can go back, you see her in a bar, and you think we are getting on, and then you go on a date, you think that is why I hated her.
Very good analogy, yes.
Yeah.
And
I don't think, actually, I'm like, this is a new day. The election's just been 2 days ago, and I think that everything we believe may not happen. I think people are beginning to realize that there is, like I've said this 2 years ago when I first came on the show, is that there's a war going on. It's a war between Team World,
there it is.
which
Have
is
your drinks, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, it's between Team World and the Team Nation, or the sovereign state, and people are going to have to realize that if this is true, if Keir Starmer is what you say he is, then people have got to fight about it and go Nigel.
Well, the fight was this Thursday, and people have gone. I mean, nearly 30% of the whole population voted for this.
Yes, we'll get on to that later. Hardly anyone voted for him, but he's in. And I do believe, having spoken to people in the blob and extended blob, that they all think they're going back into the EU. That's certainly what they want. So, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule anything out with this new Labour government. But let's have a look at the Sunday Telegraph poll.
Yeah, Tories deserve to lose, says Braverman. So this is Suella Braverman, who happens to be my MP for Waterlooville and Fareham. She's back in. So she said the Conservatives deserved historic election defeat, claims former Home Secretary. She said that writing in the Telegraph, the former Home Secretary accuses Rishi Sunak of pursuing an idiotic strategy. Well, there's nothing new in this, because she's been saying this on our television channel here, and to anyone that would listen to her. And she's right. The strategy didn't work. It clearly wasn't going to work, and it's bared itself out in the polls. What will be interesting to see how the Tories get back on their feet now, particularly with Suella Braverman still being an MP. Yeah,
it was extraordinary. Her speech on the night, she was just, I'm sorry, we've wronged you and we betrayed you. And yeah, I mean, she was right. I mean, I was right as well. I mean, all these people say, we need Penny, we need to tack back to the centre, but the voters don't want that from the Tories, and I think Suella Braverman's right. But that's my neutral opinion. What do you think?
That's it. You're exactly right. Is when you're in a war, there is no centre. In World War II, there's no let's move closer to Hitler.
Well, there's Switzerland.
Yeah, whatever.
Today.
We beat today. The point is that what the Tories needed to do was to tack away from the centre and to go where reform is. There wouldn't be a need for reform if the Tories were the Tories, but the Tories are dead and gone, and I'm sorry to say it, there's no place for the Tories anymore, and we're just waiting for them to totally crumble.
Really? Or will they adapt? And we can talk about this later a bit. Will they become more and more like reform? Or will they go back to the centre?
No,
the so-called centre, which I don't believe.
We will come to this a bit later, so I want to keep my powder dry.
OK.
There is another story here.
Let's do that then.
Blair ally drafted in to drive NHS reform. Now, of course, we've known for some time that Tony Blair is in the background, much like, you know, the Obamas are behind Joe Biden.
How dare you? It's his wife. It's clearly his wife.
Yeah, they must be, his wife, yeah. No, it can't be him, can it? He doesn't know where he is.
He's a hologram.
He's apparently the first black woman to leave the US, so we wish Biden well. Yeah, so Starmer turns the key to Blair ally to drive through NHS reform. This is Alan Milburn, known for his closeness to Sir Tony, supports greater private sector role in the health service. So it's going to be very interesting. It's not... The thing that's interesting for me about this is it's like we've never done this before. Of course, we did a lot of this before, between 1997 and 2010. Didn't work out so well then. And in the 14 years since, it hasn't worked out very well then. No. Someone's going to have to come up with a radical solution for the...
But you, Paul, are treating it like this is like a normal election. We're not a normal election. It's 1939, 1940. The war is happening right now, and only we don't see it. So you're sitting there saying, well, why can't it be normal? Why, you know, some people are suggesting, let's go to the middle. There is no middle. There's only what we believe and what they believe, and it's totally different. If you believe what they believe, go for it, but...
We're in the polarised world.
Yeah.
You're actually right, but...
Thank you.
We'll leave people in the break to think about it. That is the front page is dealt with. But coming up, who will be the next Tory leader? Is Reform UK the rightful opposition? And why you should never underestimate Angela Rayner? I wouldn't dream of it. See you soon.
Nana Queer. Weekends from 3 p.m.
Criminal barrister Tony Wyatt. Tony, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Right, so talk to me. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
More writing and pulling my hair out. The state of our courts.
I want to get your view on a few things, and seeing as you're a barrister. Rishi Sunak's come up with his Rwanda plan. Everyone sort of poo-pooing that. And Keir Starmer's come out with his border command. Is it something that may, well, stop traffickers from trafficking people across the channel?
The border command is essentially just another police force, isn't it? To just be dealing with immigration. I fail to see how it's new. I'm not entirely sure how it's new. We have that already. We have a border force. We live in a world where if you say there is a problem with this level of illegal immigration, you're immediately branded right-wing. I'm not right-wing. I'm nothing of the sort. But I can recognise a problem when I see it. That's a problem. That's too many people coming here illegally, undocumented, lost into a system. That's not a good thing. That can't possibly be a good thing. If Keir Starmer is going to throw a lot more people at it, then, yeah, that's a good thing. But it's hardly an innovation, is it? Immigration courts in this country have been absolutely crucified. They've been savagely cut. Where you may have dealt with 100 cases in a week before, you're now dealing with 10 because you don't have the judges, you don't have the barristers, you don't have the solicitors.
Same.
I mean, it's if you decimate the system by which these applications are processed, well, then you're going to create a circumstance in which the applications build up and build up and build up.
That's why we have a backlog.
Exactly. At the moment, the CPS estimates that we have about 75,000 cases in the Crown Court. The government would say 70, the CPS would say about 75. I'd say they'd know better, given they're prosecuting them all. They would say about 75,000 in the Crown Court, the backlog. That's up from 39,000 in 2020. Now, that's just the Crown Court. If the same thing is happening in the immigration courts, how are we ever recovering from that?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. You're comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister.
Which is it? Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained. I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect. And then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together and what have we got, in my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Nick Dixon, still here with Paul Cox and gym enthusiast Lewis Schaefer. And let's get on and do the Sunday Express. He was just saying he hates the gym in the break. That was that joke. Let's do the Sunday Express. And one of the great things about democracy is you can be Prime Minister despite almost everyone not voting for you, Paul.
Yes, so awkward moment. Robert Peston tells Keir Starmer 80% didn't vote for you. So Mr Peston said, you said yesterday your priority would be to govern for those who didn't vote for you. Some 80% of the British voters didn't vote for you. That's including some that didn't vote for all. And to be fair, this is quite true of many governments. I mean, yeah, well, one thing we should say is the turnout was particularly low on Thursday, and whilst they gained 2/3 of the seats, they only had 1/3 of the vote, the Labour Party. And I think what it's going to lead to is a more and more radical sort of step forward from Labour. I see Keir Starmer now sort of really pushing his agenda because he's going to be empowered by this. Whether, he can pay a lot of lip service to the fact that, he's going to try and govern for those that didn't vote for him. We've heard that before from literally every Prime Minister.
Hey, first of all, you're totally wrong about this
Not
thing.
wrong at all.
You're totally wrong, Paul.
I haven't been wrong yet.
And thank you for paying attention to me over here. Don't pay attention to him over there. Every election in every election, everybody doesn't have to vote, except in Australia, which is like horrible, right? It's like you can't be forced to vote. And the truth is, so it doesn't matter whether 40% of the people vote, 30%, or even whatever it is. The fact is, if it's important, people will go out and vote.
It does kind of shatter the illusion of democracy a little bit. It's kind of like, to me, like they've just changed management. There's been a lengthy interview process, which they call an election, and they've just changed management. We didn't really have a say because it's only 8% of the country not voting for someone. And even if you look at the Labour result compared to Corbyn in 2017, it's lower in terms of the number of people that voted. Yeah, well, I think it's 1% higher than Corbyn 2019. So everyone thought Corbyn was a disaster, but Starmer's scraped through.
But that happened in America too in the 1990s or something. I think Jesse Jackson, the great civil rights leader, black guy, he said, there's so many black people in the South of America who aren't voting, Alabama, Mississippi, whatever, Georgia. And he says, I'm going to go down there and get black people to vote. And in the next election, 5 million more black people voted than they had in the previous time. But there was no change.
No, because everyone else caught up on
because everyone said, wait a second, all those people are voting, we're going to go vote too.
I think the most important thing to mention, though, is not to be overly sour about this. The democratic process took place. We all knew what the process was. Yeah. We all voted, and we've got what the people wanted. Now, if the people didn't get out and vote, and 80% of them didn't vote for this leader, and over the next 5 years we see some radical ideology, we've only got ourselves to blame. He only really represents 20% of society.
He doesn't. This is like an opinion poll where you ask 1,000 people something. It's not everybody, but those 1,000 people will say, hey, this is what we want. If in 5 years, if this guy, Keir Starmer, and whatever the rest of those Labour people are, he doesn't do the right thing, then they'll vote him out of office.
We've got to move on, but I do think there's an argument in that, Paul, that actually that's just, we know what the game is. It's like Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but that's not what the game is, so maybe it's irrelevant in that sense. But let's do the independent. And I personally feel sorry for Starmer having to make the tough decision to raise our taxes, Lewis.
Yes, this is in the Independent, which really isn't a newspaper anymore because there's no newspapering. There's no paper. It's all on. Did you know that about the Independent? I don't know why.
Only exists in your mind.
It only exists on. Why don't they include some other local things? Maybe you've got a website that they could find news and pull it. Anyway, so this is the news. This is his first press conference. He's being all nice and he's announcing all the stuff that we knew already, which is, the Rwanda thing isn't going to happen. We knew that, or that only 34% of the people voted for this guy, or that Rachel Reeves is going to be the new female. Stuff that he has got no plan for mass immigration, and he didn't even include mass immigration as something that he should be concerned about.
Well, he's not concerned about it. I think Keir Starmer quite happily would have more mass immigration. He's paying a lot of lip service to the illegal immigration aspect, but he doesn't have any plan for that. Keir Starmer's probably one of the first leaders to have ever been elected in this country without saying exactly how he's going to do anything. He says things like, we're going to do it better, we're going to have less of this and more of that. Yeah. And every time anyone's asked how, he's just pointed at something else, or talked about women having penises.
He said in the Crown Prosecution Service he did X and Y, and there's no reason reason we can't smash the gangs. We've smashed other gangs. So he thinks we're going to smash the gangs. But I do agree with you. I mean, everyone is just going, oh, we love Starmer. People like Ian Dunt and Marina Thingy on Twitter. Everyone's just like, oh, he looks so statesman-like. Oh, his power suits him. And it's all just nauseating. It reminds me of when Biden got in and everyone's like, oh, the adults are back in the room. It's like, how did that work out for you?
Yeah,
I think it's going to be
nappy wearers.
Yeah, it's going to be a short honeymoon period, in my opinion. When he raises taxes or does austerity or whatever, and he's got this small percentage voting for him, it's going to turn ugly.
And that will happen. I mean...
no, it's not. He doesn't have a small percentage. I don't mean to...
Well, whatever. We did that story.
He's got people supporting him. The reason this has been is because they haven't shown the sides of the war. And the war is, on one side, you've got Nigel Farage saying we got to stop immigration, and on the other side, we've got Labour who says let people come in, everything's fine.
OK, well, let's get on to Farage. Let's do the Independent.
No, sorry about that.
Is Nigel Farage the true opposition to Labour, Paul?
Well, he could have been. Just been for a few more votes. Nigel Farage just 364,000 votes shy of becoming leader of the opposition, analysis shows. So the insurgent right-wing party, by the way, that's the words of the Independent, not Paul Cox, won 14% of the votes but gained just 5 MPs due to the even spread of its support. The Conservatives won just 19% but gained 121 seats under the first past-the-post voting system. And another statistic was really revealing. While Labour's average votes per seat was 23,600, Reform's average was 821,000 per seat, the number crunching shows. So we've got this is just an extension of what we've been talking about, first past the post, proportional representation, percentage of the population, and Lewis and I could argue till the cows come home. But these are the peculiarities that make our electoral and democratic system frustrating at times.
This system, but it's the same every country in the world. You can't. It's not like a democracy the way we know it. I heard it explained, and I don't remember how it was explained. But it was. This is the way it is. It just has said to people, the Tories are done. And next time you've got to vote for reform, or you got to say, you know what, we made a mistake, and we're going to make sure these Tories do what we want them to do.
And in the same way as you've got to hand it to Keir Starmer and Labour for winning, you've really got to hand it to Farage here. He's taken a party from nothing to 5 seats and just 365,000 votes away from being the actual official opposition in the United Kingdom.
I think that's huge. I mean, as we said, that's not the game the other parties were playing. It's first past the post, but it's pretty huge. It took the SNP 20 years to do this, Alex Salmond said himself. And its question is now, can they get more professional, like Farage says? Will that make them too bland, though, because they are different from the other parties? Will a sort of, rigorous vetting process make them too much like the other parties?
You have to play by the rules of the game that's in front of you. There's no other way around it. Whether that means they become slightly blander and less avant-garde because they have to play by the rules, then so be it.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
We're argumentative.
I know, sorry, because you're facing this guy. You've got to pay attention to me.
I've barely spoken about 10 minutes. We'll listen to your nonsense, but we've got to move on. But I do like the fact that Paul Cox is referring to himself in the third person. That's how you know he's a true populist leader. Let's do the Sunday Telegraph. And Angela Rayner is now one of Britain's most powerful women. Good thing she's such a mature and balanced statesperson.
Yes, this is Angela Rayner. She's the woman who basically was a bit fraudulent with her... Was she fraudulent? Accused of being fraudulent.
We don't get any legal because I'd say... no.
Possibly.
I think she definitely lived in the correct house that she said. That's my opinion.
Yeah, she lived in one of those 2 houses. She's going to be the new deputy prime minister, which is, I would think, the more important job is the chancellor of the exchequer.
Chancellor is more important, yeah. But some people are claiming for some reason now that Rayner's more important, even though everyone knows chancellor's the second most important.
Because of the way the Labour Party.
I did not read this, and I'll tell you why I didn't read it. Because any time they say, honestly, she's one of those powerful women, she's the second in control. She's one of those, whatever it is. She's the new British Kamala Harris.
Love that American confidence. I did not read this, but I'm going to go on live TV anyway and talk about it. Why not? Well, look, Paul, I mean, what do you think? I mean, there's all this stuff about, we can't be mean to Angela Rayner because that's classist. Well, I'm from the north. I went to a comprehensive school. My family come from a humble background. I say Angela Rayner is pretty awful on her own merits a lot of the time. It's nothing to do with class, nothing to do with being anti-Northern. That's one point. Second point I'd like to make quickly is everyone's saying, this is a great cabinet because they've been on social housing and they've left school at 16 and all this. I don't see necessarily a link between that and being great rulers of the of the country. I think we were better off when it was 10 blokes who'd never eaten a meal without shot still in it, who'd only eaten grouse their whole lives. What was wrong with that system? That's just my view. What do you think?
Well, it's an interesting point, and I think there bears a lot of merit in that, but for this reason. We focus now in 2024 much on where people have come from, what the colour of their skin is, what their sexuality is, what they get up to at the weekend. And that seems to be the big part of any story. What I'm much more interested about is what people are going to do with this power. I don't care where they've come from. The idea that it makes a better cabinet because they've been in social housing. I grew up for the first 8 years of my life on a council estate. I'm telling you, if the cabinet had been made up of people on that street, we'd be in a really bad position right now. 100%. You know, in the same way as it would be if it was taken from any demographic. It's about meritocracy and the best people getting the right jobs. Now, you're not going to always get that in politics because votes are very much based on emotion. I want to see Angela Rayner take this power and do something very good with it, because whoever's in government, as long as if they do well, then we do well as a country. But I fear with Angela Rayner that she's like that fearsome school mum at the school gates who's very much interested in her own voice.
You know what? You're so wrong. You are really wrong. And you're wrong too. The fact is Angela Rayner is going to do what's best for that side that we're at war. That side, the team world side. She believes in social housing. She believes in the NHS. She believes in all of that.
Everyone does.
No, everyone doesn't.
Except Rees-Mogg.
I know, and I don't either. And I've been living here 24 years, or 24 years.
Give some balance. She doesn't know the difference between abstract and abject. So there is that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe you in your comprehensive school you learned about that, but at the end of the day, she's on their team. If you're on their team, you're going to be happy with her. If you're not on their team, if you're not on their team,
that is true. Everyone agrees with that. It's partisan politics. All right, that is it for part 2. But coming up, are the civil service getting above their station? Plus, why we should release prisoners and why midwives are racist. See you in a minute.
Hello, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we go into Sunday, it's a case of showers, once again sunny spells, and still feeling on the cool side for the time of year. We've got this area of low pressure moving out towards the east and driving northwesterly winds, so bringing that fresher feel for Sunday. But it's turning dry across parts of England through this evening with some late evening sunshine. Clear spells elsewhere, but a few showers mainly coming into western parts of England and into Wales and northwestern England as well. But still, temperatures around 10 or 11 degrees, but under the clearest skies across Scotland could dip down into the mid-single figures. So to start Sunday morning then, we've got plenty of showers coming in towards the southwest of England into Wales. These could be heavy at times as well. Driest further towards the east with some bright sunshine here, but some heavy showers, possibly thundery across northwestern England as well. Sunny spells, scattered showers across Northern Ireland, but drier but fresher to start on Sunday morning across parts of Scotland with some outbreaks of rain across Orkney and Shetland. As we go through Sunday morning and into the afternoon, those showers will continue to push their way eastwards, turning heavy at times and becoming more widespread as we go through the day. Could turn thundery at times across southern parts of Scotland, northern England and central England as well. But we have got lighter winds out there compared to today, so that will help lift the temperatures just slightly, perhaps feeling a bit warmer, 19 or 18 degrees, but a little bit warmer in Scotland too. A fresh start to Monday morning, plenty of dry weather first thing. We'll start to see some showers breaking out across the northern parts of England and Scotland, but another area of low pressure towards the south, bringing cloudier skies and outbreaks of rain. And that sets the scene really through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday with outbreaks of rain, temperatures generally around average.
Sunday nights on GB News. From 6, Neil Oliver. At 7, it's Free Speech Nation with Andrew Doyle. At 9, Mark Dolan. And at 11, get set for the week ahead with headliners. Tomorrow's papers tonight. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's crack on with the Sunday Times. And one thing I've really missed is Tory leadership contest, Paul.
Yes, absolutely. If there isn't one every 6 months, Nick, I really don't feel satisfied. 7 survivors ready to fight for the Conservative leadership. So there are obviously 7 Conservative MPs who are considering running for the leadership. They are, amongst them, Kemi Badnoch, Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, Robert Jenrick, James Cleverly, Tong Tugendhat and Victoria Atkins. However, I think there's just a 2-horse race there, if there was to be one, and that would be between Kemi and Suella for me. I can't see it being anyone else. Maybe Priti Patel, but I see it being those 3. And 3 women as well. A woman of the leader of the opposition. Be interesting to see what Keir Starmer has to say about that, whilst he's shouting at a woman every Wednesday. But
and we love that because we're all feminists here.
Exactly. Feminists of colour, all of us.
Yeah.
It's definitely a problem for the Tories, because what we're going to have is much like that Labour did in 2010, where you ended up with the Miliband brother fight, where, you know, David Miliband was clearly the better politician, but Ed Miliband...
That was awful. Imagine knifing your brother, and then you're like, oh, this is the guy who want to lead the country, the brother knifer.
I genuinely believe David Miliband, by the way, was a much better politician.
I think so.
And would have been a strong leader of the Labour Party.
He had to go into exile.
Taken by obviously noted about by his own brother. That I'm sure that hasn't caused a problem at Christmas or anything like that. But what it does do is it creates this division straight away, because there will be a lot of divisiveness attached to the Tory race, because there is a split in the Tories. There are people who think we should rush towards that they should rush towards the centre ground, not we should rush towards the centre ground, and others think that maybe they need to lean towards the right because of what's going to be happening with Labour.
Okay, this
Do
is.
you agree?
No, I don't agree with you.
Funny that.
I don't agree. I personally, I can't listen. I don't know whether this is true or not, but I think the Tories are sunk. They're done. I think that they're done. I mean, I think the people. I mean, this Badnoch lady I like a lot, and even Priti Patel I like. But the truth is, they didn't do their job when they were supposed to get it done, and they need to be crushed. The Tories.
You're a 0 seats guy.
I'm a 0 seats. The end of the Tories. Give the stuff to reform. Give the stuff to somebody who cares. There's a war going on. Were you in favor of the war? No, you weren't. So you've got no place in that war cabinet.
I see. Well, I don't know. I mean, the Tories probably won enough seats to just survive, didn't they? Probably. That's the annoying thing.
Actually, 100.
Yeah, they will. Like the Liberal Democrats. They've been around for 100 years without doing anything. 100 years, and they will never do anything.
They were like the Everton, weren't they? Would you perpetually stay up every year?
Yeah. So basically, Cleverly is a sort of the unifier candidate. Tugendhat's a bit One Nation-y for me. I'm Team Suella, really, but Kemi's all right. But as it says here, Kemi would start a fight in an empty room. I'm sure that's very unfair, but one Tory figure has said that. Farage also claimed she was very unpleasant to him, so I don't know if that's an issue. But
lots of people have been unpleasant to Nigel. Bless him.
How dare you?
They have, haven't they?
But imagine, but yeah, Kemi's basically anti-Farage.
I've seen Nigel be nothing. Nigel, we're not on first name terms, though. She never calls me Paul. But I've never seen him be anything other than ultra civil to every person he's ever met. Even when I've seen him being castigated outside the studios here by a member of the public purely for being the leader of Brexit.
He's even nice to Josh Harry, so it's extraordinary. But yeah, I don't know. I'm quite Team Suella, but Suella's sort of more Team Farage. She was praising Farage the day before the election, whereas Kemi's been very sort of like, let's keep out Farage from the Tories. It's a clear line there.
But you know what the Tories need? They need... You know what? They would need me, because I say, you can't be a Tory, and you can't be a Tory because we're at war, and we need people who are willing to carry, metaphorically, a gun to fight for our side of the war. If you don't believe in it, you can join
with Americans and their guns.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad it's metaphorical, because he's claimed we're at war about 10 times now. We are not, in fact, at war, ladies and gentlemen. Don't run around. Don't run screaming out the house. Let's do The Independent. And the latest thing to be racist is, checks notes, nursing and midwifery, Lewis.
Yes, public safety endangered by quote-unquote toxic nursing regulator as staff gaslighted after raising alarm. And this is saying that it's a danger. Our healthcare is a danger. Why is it in danger? Because there's racism and sexism amongst the nursing field. So there's no danger to anybody. It's just it's not a nice place to be a nurse. Or, you know, that's what it's saying. There are 800,000 nurses in this union called the NMC, which is called the Nursing and Midwifery something.
Midwifery.
And you know, granted, it is hard to be a nurse, but the fact is the NHS is not fit. Well, it is a war.
He's having a Biden moment.
No, I don't know how far to go. Because this is a non-news story, is what I'm saying.
Okay, Paul, anything more?
Well, I think he's wrong. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure he is.
No, you don't disagree with me. I disagree.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot. I don't know how to do it, Lewis. Actually, some of the points you made were lucid. I wonder whether people are now starting to conflate racism with anything that they disagree with. You know, I don't think we are any more racist than we've ever been. In fact, I think we're a much more cohesive country in many respects, particularly with regards to race, than we have been ever. However, there are some bad actors that find it incredibly convenient to pull the race card at every possible turn because the narrative supports them.
Yeah. But how does this hurt the NHS?
It doesn't.
How does that race
the NHS, right? You can't hurt a dead horse, right? The horse is laying on the floor, dead. There's nothing you can do to hurt it anymore.
Yeah.
The NHS is a dead horse. It needs replacing with something alive.
Okay.
I don't. First of all, that's another subject. I don't think we need an NHS.
Oh,
I don't think.
Yeah, but you
I don't even think we need that.
Dandelions and meat fix everything.
It can, not dandelions. Stay away from dandelions. Yeah, I agree with that.
Stay away from dandelions.
I don't think we need an NHS. I think people need to be able to take care. Look at how great I look. Why do I look so good?
Well, we've gone on to Lewis's narcissism, so let's move on and do the Telegraph. And there's a new Iranian president. Apparently, he's just a chilled-out entertainer, Paul. A moderate guy.
I can't wait to meet him. Reformist Masoud Pezeshkian, I think I'm right in saying, Pezeshkian, wins Iran's presidential election. So he's a moderate, and we don't know what that really means, but in Iranian terms, I'd be surprised if that wasn't slightly right of Adolf Hitler. The moderate has pledged to open his country to the world, but questions remain over how it will stand up to its supreme leader, the supreme leader of Iran, obviously being the Ayatollah. Now, it doesn't matter what this guy says. And actually, it's quite encouraging to hear someone in Iran saying, perhaps we need to open up a little bit more. Perhaps we don't need to be this closed state that seems to be sort of the bad guy in the Middle East, stroking cat behind every war that's going on. I don't think, I think it would be good to change that. That's the westernised view, of course, and they won't agree with me. But I don't think it matters who the president is of Iran. It's who the Ayatollah is, and the Ayatollah is also a very religious man. So it's based very much on the words of the Quran. So Iran and the rest of the world are at the behest of the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, it says he's a moderate, but then he does say later in the piece, he's repeatedly pledged to follow Mr. Khomeini's policies. I believe in the supreme leader. I am totally following him.
Yeah. It's not a system. You're both right.
Oh, my God.
It's not a system like we know a system. It's a totally different system. But eventually, what I think is going to happen is I think people need to know about Iran. Iran is one of these great countries historically.
One of the greatest countries.
It is. It's a great country, Iran.
Great guy.
And someday they will throw off the Ayatollahs. They'll throw them off. And this is
what?
From position of power. People don't like them. A lot of people don't like them.
They'll throw off the yoke of the Ayatollahs.
All right, so you know it better than I know it. But this doesn't say anything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
You want more?
No, that's fine. We've done probably too much on that one. Let's do the Sunday Telegraph. And a civil servant said he will work in partnership with the government, thus shattering our illusion that the civil service just do what they're told, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Top civil servant criticised for partnership with Minister Fraser. So while he used the same term about the Tory predecessors, James Cleverly and Grant Shapps, critics said his language suggested the civil service is working at the same level as ministers instead of carrying out their instructions. So I did some research for this because I've often wondered this to be the case. We have this discussion all the time about civil servants, and civil servants on the whole are the employees of ministers. They very much are. There are some nuance to that, but on the whole they very much are. So the hierarchy is minister then civil servant, no matter what grade they are. It doesn't feel that way, and the difference is, of course, because they are permanent secretary, but they're in place the whole time. So they're there irrespective. That's the whole point of the civil service. They're irrespective of party politics. The fact that he's saying we'll work in partnership with, well, I think it's probably I doubt he misspoke. I'm sure that's what he means.
But he said it before about cleverly, so it's just something he said.
But whether they should be saying that, I don't know. I mean,
so what are you saying? Should they be saying it, or should they not be? Should they be doing it?
I can say I find it a bit weird. I mean, you had the Home Office not going along with what Suella Braverman wanted. We all heard. You've had the Home Office allegedly saying that Farage should be arrested or assaulted. So they seem to just be a bit rogue, do what they want. That's my perception of it. I mean, I tell you what, as well, Nima Parvini on Twitter described it very well. He said that the civil service or the general governance apparatus is like a fingerprint access machine, that when the Tories try and use it, it won't work, but it only worked for Labour. I thought that was quite a...
No, it is. It is a wrong thing, and it's the same thing that Trump has been fighting, and our people who believe in our team are fighting in America, and they're fighting here, that the government, whatever we would call it the government, but these people working as a minister or for the ministers, non-elected, it's a rogue state. It's the deep state, and they they all should be dumped.
Well, I guess
they should lose their jobs.
Sorry, Lewis, but very quickly, let's do the Sunday Telegraph. And Labour have only been in a couple of days, and they already want to release all the prisoners. Is that right, Lewis?
Yes, that is right, because who else is going to vote for them? But I don't know. Is that bad? Who's going to vote?
It depends on what you mean.
It's the boss of a shoe repair chain which employs former convicts, says the Dutch solution has enabled them to shut half their jails. And so what they're saying is, instead, we want to build mini prisons. But the guy who they hired, this guy, James Timpson, he's the Timpson guy. He's the guy who sells Louis Schaefer's keys for £6 or £7, £8 a key. When I remember when it was like £2
That's how he
a
started
key.
out. But basically, Paul, he's saying a lot of them don't need to be there. Release some of them, they could work on things. We've just seen Bukele, have you say, in El Salvador has released a load of prisoners to work on the roads. Could that work?
Oh, I'm not saying it couldn't work. It could work. It's just, it seems an odd thing to say from the start. It may have been misconstrued. Of course, we're all sitting here, particularly on our side of the argument, looking at Labour going, of course they're going to let out...
How could it be misconstrued?
Lewis,
the dude has...
HR in here, please.
He says this guy...
Not being allowed to finish the point. Apparently Lewis is host.
But let him... I'm just saying...
We're way over the break anyway.
The guy actually works...
one coherent thing that's brilliant.
I'll let him say.
I will say Nick is the host and we should go to a break.
OK, nailed it. All right, that's part 3, Nail. But
I think when you're sitting here, that's a problem.
The woman who ruined Andy Murray's Wimbledon, trouble for Larry the Cat, and How to Live Forever. We should probably put that one a bit earlier, but see you in a minute.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Welcome back. Stefan Kyriazis has, as ever, been to the theatre and saw one of the most successful performers of the modern age, one who has made his name in different genres on television and is always a magnetic presence on the stage. About whom are we talking, Stefan?
We're talking about James Corden at the Old Vic for The Constituent, and it's Traverse staging. So audience on either side, and it's a fantastic experience. But also it's been done this time to bring everything in a lot and make it quite intimate, because you just have one simple set. It's just a table, office space. This is a new play by Joe Penhall, and it's addressing very, very current issues of safety, especially for people in public service. Doctors, nurses, teachers, and, of course, as you know, politicians that are at risk and being attacked. So we have Joe Cox, Sir David Amess, and we have politicians talking about cancelling their surgeries, not wanting to appear in public, teachers being threatened. And James Corden plays an ex-serviceman who is going through a difficult divorce, dealing with a lot of PTSD, also feeling very much like fathers are overlooked, and he wants to fight for their rights. And an old school friend is a local MP, played by Anna Maxwell Martin. And he goes in to start talking to her, and it starts off quite chummy and jovial, and then it darkens and darkens. He gets quite aggressive and frustrated. She wants to help. She's an absolute idealist. This politician sense of we don't choose who we work for. You know, we are here by duty to work for everybody in our constituency. It spirals a lot. I have to say, Corden, sensational. Really? He really is a fantastic actor. Of all of them, he's so natural, and he has the most difficult role where his character is shifting all the time and becomes potentially quite threatening and dangerous, but then there's also a beautiful catharsis at the end.
The People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. Are you comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister?
Which is it? Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained. I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday,
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Jubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect. And then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the final section of Headliners. Let's get into it with the Sunday Express. And it's a nice change to have a woman ruining a man's sporting career, Paul. See what I did? It was clever.
Yeah.
It was couple, it was edgy.
Andy Murray's mum blasts Emma Raducanu for ruining son's final Wimbledon appearance. So Andy Murray's mum, of course, Judy Murray, claimed that it was astonishing for Emma Raducanu to pull out of the women's mixed doubles. She said she had a stiff wrist and she wanted to concentrate on her solo
She could have come up with something a bit better than that. A stiff. If you're going to like ruin Andy Murray's great farewell, at least say you've got a broken leg or something.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Play it up a bit more.
Well, the point is that Andy Murray's mom, by getting upset at Emma Raducanu, whatever her name is going to make people remember that Andy Murray, that was his last thing.
His last action was his mum getting angry.
Was his mum.
It feels like that was his first and last action for him. It does feel like she's the sort of mum that has always controlled him, perhaps advises his wife on how best to love him.
You've got Chinese Olympians looking, going, she's a bit much. That's how controlling she is.
And the thing about tennis is the worst sport in the entire world. I
love tennis.
I know you do. People who like tennis, exactly. Well, you prove the point. People who are extremely egomaniacal, who don't want any.
Yes, was calling me egomaniacal.
I love.
You must be Pete Sampras then.
I love football. I love football and English football and American football because there are tons of your fans. You got to go to the game with tons of everybody cares, but with tennis, he's sitting there alone.
You know he's not responsible for tennis, though, don't you?
He's responsible for liking tennis. That says everything you need to know.
I'm a dangerous loner. Lewis Schaefer's got me there. Well, we love Andy Murray. He's had a great career. Emma Raducanu, fair play to her as well. She's got a single career to worry about. So I do understand it for balance, though she has just ruined a great man's day. But hey, that's what women do. Terrible ending for that. I didn't mean to say that. Let's do the Daily Star Sunday. And Larry the Cat may not be able to stay at 10 Downing Street, which is a pity, because he received a higher percentage of the vote than Keir Starmer, I heard, Lewis.
That's not true. Anyway, and I don't even like Keir. I don't like the... Anyway, Larry the Cat could be in trouble in number 10 because Keir Starmer brought his own pet, which is a dog. He's a dog guy.
German Shepherd as well.
Yeah.
He's a tough dog.
And you know what it is? And it's like, oh my God, they actually in this article, which is in the Daily Star, they actually asked a dog and cat expert whether cats like me with dogs. I think that's some new information.
I know, it's great. But Larry fended off a huge fox apparently in 2022. I thought that was Jolly and Morn, but apparently it was Larry. But there is going to be problems, Paul, because cats are territorial. Massive German Shepherd. It's all going to kick off.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all going to live together, though, are they? I'm sure that...
it's quite a small flat.
Yeah, I don't know. But Larry's barely in the flat. He's always mooching around, trying to get a bit of press action.
Killing pigeons.
Yeah, he's got business to get on with, isn't he? He's got to wander around, making sure that he, takes a leak on Peston's leg or whatever he does. And there is, the German Alsatian in Downing Street, Nick. Think of it.
Yeah. Okay, I know it's wrong.
Is that the kind of dog?
It would never have happened if we were... Well, it's classic Starmer, isn't it? Trying to bring us back towards Europe.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do the Daily Star Sunday again, weirdly. And sometimes we all need an emotional support banana, Paul.
Yes, we do. Truth behind that iconic picture of bloke walking a banana on a leash. It's not that iconic, really, because I had to look it up. But a 2022 Reddit post still divides opinion today after a bloke was snapped walking a banana on a leash around a road in the UK.
We've all done it.
Yeah, we've all done it. But apparently there's quite a very simple explanation. It isn't.
He's mental.
Yeah, that's the simplest, because the rest of it's absolute nonsense. The explanation is that it's a pet banana.
Yeah.
And this pet banana does help people with social anxieties.
It isn't the pet banana. It isn't the pet banana. Why don't you read the article?
I did read the article. The words in the article.
What did it say?
You do something ridiculous to get over your social anxiety.
But that doesn't make it a pet.
It does on TV.
Yes, exactly. I could be. You are right about that.
That was pretty funny. That was quite good. I've come.
That was though. It is.
Yours going to come up good at the end, like England today. Sorry.
It is. It's like if I'm saying something like this, you can say something to anybody, and then you can go through life in a better way.
Okay, Lewis, because I think you'll like this one. Let's do The Independent. And a man has radically slowed down his aging process. On the downside, he has to eat vegan food.
Yes. Yes, this guy, Brian Thompson. Everybody knows about this guy. They're acting like this is like brand new. Yeah. This guy's been doing like for 2 years. He spent £2 million a year. And he's 46, and he thinks, look at how young I look. He looks
like a child.
He looks like a child. If a child had an incurable disease was about to die. And he actually stole his kid's blood. I saw a documentary on the guy. He's absolutely.
Say he probably didn't.
People want to know how I only eat meat. I'm not on a vegan diet. Look at how great I look. I look great. Only meat.
I did look up the guy's diet at one point. It was disgusting, Paul. Go on.
He only eats meat and whatever any of the production staff here at GB News have left longer than 3 minutes on their desk.
Oh, Lewis, I thought you meant this Brian guy.
Oh, were you talking about me?
Yes, I
look pretty. Yeah, do you think I look pretty good?
Honestly, we're going to have words, Lewis, because...
So have I interrupted you?
You know I'm in love with you, mate, and you've not treated me very kindly.
I love you, too, but you know what it is? You're like my girlfriend. It's like you say you love me, but you don't live up to it.
This is a news show, guys. We're talking about important stories. A man wants to live forever. We've got to go, though. Thank you very much. I think we pulled it back at the end. It was a good show.
Good show.
Got to go to the papers, though.
I give you a round.
We'll see you again. So let's have another quick look at Sunday's front pages. And the Mail on Sunday goes with Brexit. Now the retreat begins. That was about Boris. The Sunday Express, PM, Rwanda plan dead and buried. The Sunday Telegraph, Blair ally drafted in to drive NHS reform. The Observer has Starmer tells his cabinet, now it's time to deliver on our promises. Though we weren't sure what they were earlier in the show. The Sunday Mirror, we've done it. That's the football. And finally, the Daily Star, yes. And those were your front pages. That is it for tonight's show. Thanks to Paul and to some degree Lewis. Headliners is back tomorrow at 11 p.m. If you're watching at 5 a.m, then of course stay tuned for breakfast. But for now, it's good night or good morning, and indeed, God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back.
That warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we go into Sunday, it's a case of showers once again, sunny spells, and still feeling on the cool side for the time of year. We've got this area of low pressure moving out towards the east and driving northwesterly winds, so bringing that fresher feel for Sunday. But it's turning drier across parts of England through this evening with some late evening sunshine. Clear spells elsewhere, but a few showers mainly coming into western parts of England and into Wales and northwestern England as well. But still, temperatures around 10 or 11 degrees, but under the clearest skies across Scotland could dip down into the mid-single figures. So to start Sunday morning then, we've got plenty of showers coming in towards the southwest of England into Wales. These could be heavy at times as well. Driest further towards the east with some bright sunshine here, but some heavy showers, possibly thundery across northwestern England as well. Sunny spells, scattered showers across Northern Ireland, but drier but fresher to start on Sunday morning across parts of Scotland with some outbreaks of rain across Orkney and Shetland. As we go through Sunday morning and into the afternoon, those showers will continue to push their way eastwards, turning heavy at times and becoming more widespread as we go through the day. Could turn thundery at times across southern parts of Scotland, northern England and central England as well. But we have got lighter winds out there compared to today, so that will help lift the temperatures just slightly, perhaps feeling a bit warmer, 19 or 18 degrees, but a little bit warmer in Scotland too. A fresh start to Monday morning, plenty of dry weather first thing. We'll start to see some showers breaking out across the northern parts of England and Scotland, but another area of low pressure towards the south, bringing cloudier skies and outbreaks of rain. And that sets the scene really through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday with outbreaks of rain, temperatures generally around average.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£30,000 in cash has to be won. It's our biggest cash prize so far, and it could be yours. Phil was a winner. Listen to what he says about winning the Great British Giveaway.
Hi, my name's Phil Cox. I just looked at my account and thought, oh my God, yeah, it's true, it's gone into my account. And if I can win it, anybody can win it.
The next big winner could be you, with an extra £30,000 cash in your bank. For another chance to win £30,000 in tax-free cash, text CASH to 63232. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries cost £2. Or post your name and number to GB07 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 30th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
How deep is the rift between Prince William and Prince Harry? Well, it's been reported that Prince William is refusing to speak to Prince Harry and has even taken on the role of disciplinarian, which was once, of course, the job of Prince Philip. But has that job gone now to William? And does he indeed rule with a rod of iron? Well, joining me now to discuss this is the former BBC Royal correspondent Michael Cole. Himself has a lot of iron. Do you think this is a fair approximation of the character? After all, Michael Cole, surely the palace could do with a firm leader at the moment. Is Wills the man?
I think he is, Martin, and good afternoon to you. William, 42 last Friday. He's grown into the role of heir apparent. He looks good, he sounds good. Now, when the late Queen was alive, she was the chairman of the board, but the chief executive was definitely Prince Philip. She was the head of state, but he was the head of the family. He chaired the Way Ahead Committee. He liaised with the security services. And he laid down the law for a long, long time. Of course, Duchess of York, Sarah, Fergie, was banished. And he also used to go through the invitation lists for any royal event, striking off people he didn't want there. So he was very much in charge. And I think the situation with William is that when he makes up his mind is made up. And he's doing extraordinarily well. And he's doing it without the daily support in public of his wife, of course. And we all wish Kate, the Princess of Wales, well and a speedy continued recovery. And I think the King will be welcoming his older son taking this more prominent role because, quite frankly, he can't do everything.
GB News, the People's Channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Albie Corner, Emma Webb, Ben Leo, and Benjamin Butterworth. Tonight on the show,
what is Rishi Sunak's legacy?
Pro-Gaza MPs threaten democracy.
This Soviet-style majority is disgraceful for our electoral system.
Why the media classes fawning over Labour is embarrassing and pathetic.
And a new dawn has broken, has it not?
It has not. It's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. A very warm welcome to the Saturday 5 and thank you for choosing us over Gareth Southgate because it's been a dramatic, momentous, history-making week after months of, well, even years of waiting. It finally happened and we'll all remember where we were when we did it. At exactly 10 p.m. on Thursday evening, word spread from pub to pub, from house to house, throughout this green and pleasant land. Benjamin Butterworth had bought a round of drinks in. This rare event occurred because Benjamin was out watching the exit polls come in with his old sparring partner Albie Corner, Mixed emotions, as you can see, displayed across their faces. Benjamin and I'll be up both here tonight to assess the election fallout. Ben Leo is back as well. He's been doing his bit for climate change and completing the lineup in our first ever show under a Labour government, the brilliant broadcaster and commentator Emma Webb. Now, folks, you know the drill. Each host outlines their arguments about a chosen topic. Then we all pile in and it goes downhill faster than a Tory cabinet member's career prospects. And of course, we want to know your views as well. Please do send them in. Post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. No topic is off limits. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday Night News with Tatiana Sanchez.
Darren, thank you and good evening. The top story. Sir Keir Starmer says Rishi Sunak's plans to send migrants to Rwanda is now dead and buried. Speaking after the first meeting of his new cabinet, the Prime Minister ruled out the controversial scheme.